Good morning and welcome to the August 28th, 2017 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Today we're going to be looking at Romans chapter 8. The book of Romans, one of the great epistles of Paul, is used so often and is referred to by so many people. There are so many famous quotes in that particular book of the Bible, and it is used oftentimes to lead people to Christ. You may know there's something called the Roman Road, which is all quotes from Romans, which leads a person through the main tenets of the Christian faith that one must believe in order to be saved according to the Christian belief. There is a beautiful quote that comes in chapter 8:28, that you're probably familiar with. And that is, for all things work together for good, for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. But I want to back up 2 verses today to 8:26, which is a lead up to that great and powerful verse. And that is 8:26. For the Spirit also helps our infirmities. For we do not know how to pray as we ought, but the Spirit itself intercedes for us with groanings which can scarcely be uttered. You know, I think as a Christian matures, their prayer life changes. At first, I think a lot of us think of God almost like an ATM machine. We put in our order and we expect instant service. And if we don't get exactly what we have asked for, the amount of money, for example, in the ATM machine that we've asked for, we feel somehow cheated or ripped off, and we get upset with the Lord. But God is not a cosmic ATM machine. He's not a genie in the bottle. And he has very wisely, in my opinion, decided to keep the decisions of life in his own hands, as opposed to always in ours. And what that means is that it gives us great confidence that God is going to take whatever we do, and even if it's sometimes unwise or even stupid or maybe even rebellious, he can redeem that time. He can do something with it. Now, that doesn't clear us from responsibility, and certainly we can make our lives much more difficult than they could have or should have been, but he will intervene on behalf of his children to work all the threads of this tapestry of our lives together in a beautiful fashion. I love it when people refer to our lives as a tapestry, and they say that, when a tapestry is being created, the interior, one side looks terrible, and it just looks like a mass of random threads, but you flip it over, and then, of course, the beautiful picture starts to be revealed. The reason I bring this up is because in verse 26, Paul is talking about prayer and about how we don't even know how to pray for the right things. We do have a tendency to decide we know best, we know what's best for our lives, for people, and for those we love, those we meet, for business prospects. We just think we know that it's always unbridled success. It will always be immediate, wonderful relationships. It will always be instantaneous goodness and light and joy and success and prosperity. And that may not be what is actually the best thing for us. And we think that God has cheated us. But he hasn't. He's actually helped us because, you see, we are limited people. We have a limited mind. Everything, our ability to think, our ability to know what we desire, everything has been affected by the fall. And so we are working with broken machines. God knows that. And as Paul says in verse 26, the Holy Spirit, which has been given to us and lives in a believer to help us and to comfort us and encourage us and convict us and keep us going on this trek to glorification. The Holy Spirit understands that even when it comes to praying, these infirmities, these weaknesses on our part, affect even our ability to know how to pray well. And so what does the Holy Spirit do? He comes in and helps us by acting as a translator. And sometimes we don't even know. But you know, sometimes I think being still before the Lord, asking Him to take a hand, not being so didactic with the Lord, so blatant, so adamant, this is the right thing that should happen. I find as I get older and hopefully a little more mature in my spiritual walk, I find myself being much less direct in the sense of thinking I know what the end result should be. And I ask God to do what is best for me and to help me see it if it does not appear at the time to be the most pleasant or the most engaging. When you realize that you have someone helping you who loves you more than anyone else ever has or ever frankly could love you, and who only wants the best, and who is in the prime position to know what the best thing is for you in the long term, how can you worry too much? All really will be well. It's a great comfort. It's not to diminish the concern that we have in the moment, but it is a good thing to remember that even in praying, we have a helper, the Holy Spirit, that helps us pray as we ought. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Visit me on the next edition of the Bible. Delight in the details. Have a great day.